Hello and welcome everybody to our next great webinar. I'm very happy that you all are interested and thank you for joining this webinar. My name is Florian Eckerle. I will guide you through this webinar today. We'll take care of your questions and I hope you will enjoy it. Today, the topic will be presented by Dominic Cosgrove, our CPO at WorkPoint. So we will speak about WorkPoint 365 and Microsoft Teams better together, but more from Dom later on. First, if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to put it in the Q&As. I promise you I will take care of them. And after the presentation, we will definitely answer the question. I hope so. Dom will answer the questions. So it's time, I think, to start the presentation. No time to waste. So enjoy it, have fun. Hello, Dom. I'm very happy that you present today and hope you are ready to show us some great things to make our life easier.
Hey Florian, thank you for the introduction and just looking forward to talking about WorkPoint and Microsoft Teams together, better together. So I think I've shared my desktop.
It's already on, so I will send it live and you can start directly. So it's on, so we can start.
Perfect. Thank you very much. So yes, as Florian said, the topic of today is WorkPoint and Microsoft Teams better together. Florian's already introduced us, but I'm Dominic Cosgrove, the CPO at WorkPoint. I've been with WorkPoint for about 18 months now, but I have a long history as a partner and a customer with WorkPoint. Just a little bit about WorkPoint, who we are. We're a software development company based in Denmark. We were one of the first movers to the cloud from a product perspective, aligned with very much the Microsoft BPOS, Microsoft Office 365 strategy. We've been providing document management solutions for more than 25 years. And we are very much a partner-driven organization, and this allows us to reach as many of our customers as possible, and also gives us that global reach. And we do, as I say, educate our WorkPoint partners to ensure that they can deliver excellent and quality solutions. And we also offer things like fast-track development capabilities. So if there's specific requirements, we can deliver those for you. Just some of our customers, hopefully there's some names and brands that you recognize, but I just wanted to kind of show you that we work across multiple sectors and a lot of different types of organizations. But one thing all of these customers have in common is they firstly have a strategy around Microsoft 365, and I think that's very key for today's discussion, because Microsoft Teams is more and more becoming a central tool for Microsoft and Microsoft 365. There's a need for governance. We can all have Microsoft 365, but if you don't have the governance and controls in place, then it becomes organized chaos or the Wild West. So again, I'll discuss that more in relation to Teams. Need for business solutions, so whether that's a HR, project management, quality management, contract management, case management type solution, there's a need for a business solution within these organizations. And they also have a tendency or need to support their business processes within the product. So whether that's the life cycle of a project, but it can also be more in depth, and with our shortly coming new products, and we'll discuss those later. We're going to be increasing the support for business processes within WorkPoint. Again, very document centric and very information and knowledge centric organizations. So those are the types of customers that we typically work with. And what does WorkPoint do? From our foundation, we've been based on all the Microsoft 365 tools, and what we do is we bring them all together to build different solutions. So whether that's quality, case management, customer management, employees, projects, etc. And then we align ourselves to disciplines. So whether that's risk management, task management, the document management, lifecycle management, these are all kind of the disciplines that we're aligned to. And then finally, At our core, we have all the kind of core functionality of WorkPoint, whether that's our metadata management, our security and rights management, our governance, our classification, our process engines. So these are all at the core, and you'll see these come out in Microsoft Teams because, again, we're bringing the core of WorkPoint into Microsoft Teams, and we're bringing the same ethos and background that we've had, whether that's been in Outlook or whether that's been in SharePoint. We're now just bringing the same quality and goodness of WorkPoint into Microsoft Teams. And every company, key to the company's success is about their knowledge, and it's about being able to produce knowledge. So Microsoft Teams is all about producing knowledge and sharing knowledge and collaborating. It's about the saving of knowledge, whether that's knowledge within the chat or whether that's knowledge retained in documents contained in the teams, in a team. Being able to find that knowledge is critically important as well. When you have lots of teams, it can become hard to find and navigate. So that's one of the things that we're still trying to, or we hope we solve. And also being able to share. Teams is fantastic about sharing not only with your colleagues, but with third parties and external providers as well. And the final thing, just as the introduction for those that don't know much about WorkPoint, WorkPoint is really about providing structure and governance and control and a logical structure. So everyone, or I say everyone, most people understand and work in hierarchies. So whether that's from the old days of using folders to storing your emails in folders in Outlook or folders in SharePoint, everyone thinks of these kind of hierarchical concepts. So, within WorkPoint, we have this concept of business modules, and they can be built in hierarchy. So you could have customers, and under customers, you could have contracts and projects. And likewise, under projects, you could have additional business modules, such as maybe risks or transmittals. And within each of these, you can then store your information. And it's easier to show, but I just want to kind of give you the idea of WorkPoint, and if you haven't been working with WorkPoint, the kind of the core element of our business modules and our structures. So I kind of touched on this already, but I wanted to go into why have we focused on bringing Microsoft Teams and WorkPoint together. So we see Microsoft Teams being a fantastic tool for collaboration, as I say, but we want to enable the adoption, but ensure that there's the right level of governance in place. And it's a fine balance because, you don't want to over-govern the solution where you're impacting the collaboration, but you want enough governance to have control. So Microsoft Teams has become the de facto collaboration tool in the Microsoft 365 suite. All the goodness of Planner, SharePoint, email, calendar has all started being surfaced in Teams, and this is the way things are going forward. So we have to see that Microsoft Teams is at the center, and that's why we see it as critical to aligning with Microsoft strategy. It's also become the default tool, especially during COVID and the pandemic. There's a rapid acceleration of deployment of Teams. So we want to make sure that we not only support that, but also we can help organizations that may have had to roll it out quickly, bring it back into control and governance. So where there might have been a bit of a Wild West of Teams, bring that back in and say, okay, now's a good time to put the governance and controls in that we didn't have 6 months ago. We are also working in a different way now. We're not only working all in the office, we're still working very much in a hybrid or remote way of working, and Microsoft Teams supports that. So again, you want your WorkPoint to go where you are. So whether you're working at home, whether you're working hybrid or hot desking, WorkPoint should go with you no matter where you are. And many organizations have only focused on the unified comms, so the calls and chat functionality, because that's what was needed during the virtual meetings and the ability to interact with your colleagues during the pandemic. But there's so much more to Teams, and we want to be able to drive that adoption and that usage of the rest of the platform. And a thing that SharePoint suffered with when SharePoint came out initially, and still kind of does suffer from, is this concept of sprawl, and we're seeing the same thing happen with Teams as happened with SharePoint, where you're now getting lots of teams that are being created, duplications of teams, people not knowing which team should I use, content being stored in the wrong location, and teams being generated but never used. So there's no real lifecycle management of teams. So that's why we've kind of been putting a big focus on Microsoft Teams, not only because it's become the default de facto collaboration tool, but it's also, we see the need still of providing that governance. So how, or what are the challenges we see? So I think I've probably touched on all of these already. So we want to ensure there's collaboration, but without putting too much barriers, but also to put in the controls in place. Ensure the right people have access to the teams. So you can give the team owner the rights to do that, but then it becomes a task for them to do. But also, what's your policy, what's your controls around making sure people have the right access to your teams? How do you make sure the teams have the same structure? If you go to every single team and they have a different structure, then how do people know where to go and find content if they have different channels and different tabs within the teams? So you need to have that common structure. And this comes back to the simplicity of use that WorkPoint has always been focused on. It's about making the user experience as simple as possible. I've mentioned about team sprawl and the number of teams and the proliferation of teams that have happened. Again, how do you find the team that you want to work with? And what do you do when the team's no longer needed? Do you have a policy or a procedure around archiving a team, ensuring that the information is captured and locked, so it's not actually deleted or removed, so the knowledge that was in that team is retained within the system or within the organization. And more importantly, we also want to make sure that the users are working with WorkPoint in Teams directly. So similar to our story with SharePoint and with Outlook, we want to bring the user into the tool they want to use. So overall, and the theme of today is WorkPoint and Teams better together. So I think from this perspective, it's easier to show, but what are we doing? So, we have team templates. So the templates ensure that every team created for a project or for a case or for a quality assurance solution are created equally. We have a teams directory, so you can easily find and locate your teams. We manage the security and membership of the teams as well. We have actions to control when a team is actually created. So, not every project needs a team. So when in a life cycle of a project do you need a team, or, should you just have someone request a team as they need it rather than just automatically creating a team? Again, trying to control that level of number of teams that you have. And finally, but by no means least, our WorkPoint app builder for Microsoft Teams. And I'll be showing that during the demo, but we have a no-code way of creating apps for Teams. So, within a few minutes, you can actually have an app for a WorkPoint solution with no code. So with that, I'd like to move into more of a demo. So throughout this demo, hopefully you can see Microsoft Teams. I'm going to be doing everything within the browser, but obviously this will also work within the Microsoft Teams app. But the idea here is I'm not going to leave Microsoft Teams. I'm going to do everything within the Microsoft Teams app. Another kind of key element for us is, I'm going to be using different functionality, but I'm also going to be playing a kind of a persona. So I'm a project manager in this case, but it could be a case manager, it could be a case worker, it could be a quality assurance or contract manager. But in this case, it's focused around projects. And in this case, it's also a renewable energies company that creates wind farms and solar farms, etc. Just to give you some context of the demo. So what we're seeing here at the moment is on the app bar, I have pinned an app that I've created using the WorkPoint app builder. So you can see it here. I will show you how this app is created later, but I want to start with the end solution. So I've called it Ultimate, and what I have on the home page is I see my WorkPoint solution. So I can see everything about WorkPoint. I can see my business modules. I can see my tools. I can access my search functionality. I've got all my active projects here, etc. And I've got some recent tasks and recent activities that are happening within my solution. The next tab is a view of my customers. So I can come down here and I can see a view of my customers and the countries and the VAT numbers, etc. Apologies about the lack of information in here, but you get the idea that there's a list of companies. And likewise, I have my projects. So the great thing about here is I've got my projects and they're related to a customer, so I can see stock industries and Axe Capital, etc. But I have quite a long list of projects. So I can come in here and I can do things like filtering. So I could actually just say, show me the ones in the United States and show me the ones that are related to Cyberdyne. I can come in here and filter by Cyberdyne systems. And now I only have 2 projects that are related. So an easy way for me to come in and filter and find the projects that I'm really related, that interest me. I can obviously set up different views as well. So I can set up my projects or my team projects, etc. But an important thing here is I've also got this Teams icon. So these are projects where teams have actually been created. So Project Chase has one, the San Francisco one, but Mercury program doesn't have a team created because maybe that's not in the life cycle of the project that requires a team yet. So we don't automatically have to go and create a team. We can, but we don't automatically have to go and create a team every time a project is created. The next tab that I've added to this app is new customers. So maybe I want to be able to go and create a new customer. And likewise, new projects. And for projects, I'll actually show an example. So here I will create one called Windy Project, or maybe Windy Turbine actually. And I'll select a customer and I'll make them part of the Axe Capital customer. And I'll give them a project manager, Jesper. And I'll give some project teams, maybe Chris and Clara and Florian, as Florian is hosting this. Florian.
Thank you very much that I'm part of this team.
There you go. You might get some work assigned to you as a consequence. But I can also provide, this is going to be a wind project and some description. So some metadata about information about the project. So I can click save and that's going to start running what we call our wizard. So if I come back to my projects list and I'll just scroll to the bottom, I can see my Windy Turbine. So that's creating the new project for me. But I'll show it to you, but it is being based off a template. So every project is created with the same common structure. I can also do things, so while that's creating, and it will only take literally a minute to create, so I'll move back there shortly. I can also search content as well. So WorkPoint has a really rich search experience. So we can not only search across all of our projects and our cases and our different business modules, but I can also search across content. Over and the top of Sharepoint Search, we can actually do more advanced search capabilities. So I can actually say, okay, well, I want to see all documents related to Castle Rock. So I can type project. So I can see the 3 documents related to this Castle Rock project. So it's not only searching for content, it's also searching for content related to projects. And I have this ability to do more refiners as well. So my document type and display author. And this is really a basic configuration I have set up here, but we have really advanced functionality. And I suggest having a look at some of our tips and tricks and other webinars to see about our search functionality. And finally, what I wanted to show is, apologies, I think my authentication ran out. The downside of being in a browser. And here I brought in a project summary. So don't worry about the data that's being displayed here. It doesn't necessarily make sense. But what it shows is a quick summary of my projects and my health of my projects. And you can build a really rich dashboard about your projects and bring that into your app as well. So this just shows you that you kind of bring in things like Power BI into your app. Which adds a lot of functionality. So let's go back to our projects. And hopefully down here, I can see my windy turbine project has been created. It has no team associated. I can come into my windy turbine. And the good thing is what I see here is it has a common structure. So the home page is exactly the same as I would expect on all my projects. So that's showing you the kind of the templating functionality that we have. You'll also notice that I also have a stage model called Development, Construction, Operations, Re-energize, and Archived. So I can actually say, okay, well, actually during development, we don't actually need a team, but when we go to construction, that's when we need a team, and maybe we need a team at operations as well. So I can actually create a team when I need it, depending on the life cycle of the project. And that's only one example of when you can actually control when you might want a team created. But in this case, I'm just going to click a very manual way. So I've set this up so the user, the logged in user, can request a team. So notice I say request a team rather than just create a team. So I click the button, it did a quick page refresh. And while that's creating or doing its thing, I'll just go back to the projects list. And I can see that I've just been sent an approval. So I've set this up in a kind of demo solution. So I'm sending the request to myself, but you could send the request to a manager maybe, or to a centralized function within IT. So under activity, I can now see that I've been given an approval request, and I can either approve or reject it. And likewise, down in my approvals app, I can see that my windy turbine has a request. I can come in here, and maybe in this case, I actually reject it. So I reject it. So I can now see that the final request was rejected and we rejected it. But I can come back down to my app, and I'll just go back to my Ultimate app, and I'll have a look at my projects. And down here, if I have a look, I have a status, which is rejected. So I don't really want to be unfair to this person, and I do want to approve it. So in this case, I'll go and request the team. Yeah, request the team. And if I go back now to my approval, I might get 2 of those coming through. I can see that there's a request, and this time I say, so I can approve this. So now I can see that it's been approved. And if I go back to my projects, app, so my ultimate app, multiple applications here, and I go to my projects. I can see down here, if I can just give it a second. Yeah, I can see now that a team has been created for it. So if I come in here, I can then say, okay, well, let's go and have a look at this team. So I'm going to open it in the web app because I need to stay in that for the moment. And I can see that it's still provisioning. So just while we're waiting for that to provision, give it a second. I can see that I have a master template for my team. So I can see that what I'm expecting is under my general, is that I have files, wiki, a home, and a BIS tab. And I've also got some standard channels. So if I come down, and it takes a little bit of time, but now I can see that I have all my channels. So some of them have been hidden. Not doing a very good job of showing them. Show that one. I'm getting too quick on my clicking, but you can see that all the channels are there. But additionally, not only to the channels being created, I can also go and see if I manage the settings of this. I can see that under members permissions, I've only allowed them to upload customized apps, but I've removed a lot of the other permissions. And likewise with guests, I've removed their permissions. And under, I think it's the fun stuff, I've removed the fact that they can add gliffies and stickers, because this is the sort of control that I want to bring in. So if I come down, all being well, I should be able to see under my channel, manage my channel. Oops, sorry, manage my team even. I can see under settings that I have the same members permissions, I have the same guest permissions, and I have the same fun stuff permissions. So I'm really controlling that. And if you remember when I created the Whitney turbine, I actually assigned some permissions as well. So hopefully if we come here, I can see that Jesper, who was assigned as the project manager. So I've set up WorkPoint to say, okay, well, if he's the project manager, he should be the owner of this team. And then the team members, Florian and Christian, should be guests or members, or sorry, members in this case, of the team. So without the user having to do anything, we already have a team created, we have a project created, we have a team related, and the only thing they had to do is go and request approval, and all the permissions, the templates, the tabs, the channels, and the permissions have been set by WorkPoint. Okay, so now hopefully if I go back to my app, my projects, we're all set up based on this. But sometimes coming to this list inside the app is fantastic, and I can, you know, filter out, and I didn't even see so Windy project and Norway, and I can find my project there. But sometimes you may not even be in the app. You may actually be chatting to a colleague, or you may be working in Teams or in a team. So let's go and see what the experience of this app. And again, this is still the app that we built, but with no code. So there's two ways I can interact with this. Here I pinned, similar to I pinned the app in here. I've also pinned the app to the message bar. So I can click here, and I can do find the app. So maybe I clicked the wrong one. I clicked it. I can see my ultimate. It's got my logo. I got all my projects. I can do like Windy. Okay, it was the first one. I can click here. And what it's doing now, it's actually giving me a card of information about that project. Or maybe that project's the wrong project because I didn't fill out all the information, but maybe I go and look up something like Project Chase. So here is Project Chase. It's got the project ID. So maybe Jesper is chatting to, I'm logged in as the administrator here, but I'm chatting to Jesper, and I said he's asked me for information about this project. So I can go and search for a project directly within the chat, and then I can send that to him. And he gets this nice layout of the card saying, okay, well, shows it's a windy project because it's a wind, a bit of information, the project ID, the location and things like that. And then I can also start interacting with that project. So maybe I want to change the metadata, or I want to change the stage of that project. So that's one great way that we can interact. But what happens if maybe Lona, I'm chatting with Lona, and Lona asked me to create a new project? Well, that's possible as well. So up here, I open up my app, and I've got these additional actions I can do. So I can actually go and say, create a customer, create a project, create a document. And these are all configurable. So I'm going to say create a project in this case. And again, it opens up our wizard. So it should be exactly the same functionality. And in this case, I'm going to call it. And maybe it's, again, this could be the project manager in this case, and Lone is only part of the team. So I can now close this window because that project's been created. And I can set up notifications and these sort of things as to when things have happened within the system. But I'm not restricted to just working here. Maybe I'm in a Teams area, and maybe it's actually even under Windy Turbine, and I want to get information for that team to send them information about this project. So I can actually do an app mention and then ultimate. So I find my app, and then I've got all my commands available to me. So I can do find project, and I do project chase again. He says, yep, and there we go. And in this case, I get like a nice card again. I can just say copy that. So that's copied to my clipboard. And maybe now I can actually, within a team chat, send my card to people within that team. That's related. These cards are completely configurable. We offer standard layouts as well. In this case, I've configured one just to kind of change the layout slightly, but they are completely configurable. And the final thing that I wanted to show was under my projects. Sorry, Ultimate. So I'm going to the projects app. I have a project, hopefully, here called Hog Creek, which is in the re-energize phase. So I can come into the project, and if you remember the stage model, this goes from re-energized to archived, or it could go from re-energized back into construction and operations. But in this flow, I'm just going to send it to archived. So if I do change stage, and I say archived, and I can give it some final metadata once I want to archive it. Maybe the data was archived, or who requested the archiving of it. I can now go to the team associated to it. So I can access the team here. And you can see that I'm in this Hog Creek team. And this team has been archived because I set up a rule to say when a team is set to archive through the WorkPoint stage model, archive the team. So I can no longer come in and make any changes to this team. So that again manages the life cycle of the project. So that's very much the kind of the demo that I wanted to show from the end user perspective. Hopefully, I've shown a lot of functionality. Firstly, everything was done within Teams. I created a project. I created a team associated to a project. I had a request approval process as well. The team, when I created the team, it was based off a template that had the right level of permissions set. It also had the right users assigned the right memberships and roles within it. And it had the right structure as well. So what I wanted to show you is a little bit about creating the app. So as I say, this is called the Ultimate app. So I previously installed our WorkPoint Builder, app builder. Apologies, it was called App Studio and this one hasn't been updated, but it's the WorkPoint builder for Microsoft Teams. And I can see I have a number of apps, and this project one was the one that I kept going to, but I have this one called Ultimate. So I can easily come in here and create an app. And the only thing I need to do is give it a URL. So that's the only time I might have to come back into the SharePoint environment and go back to my Teams app. And I just need to put in the solution URL and I can validate that. I can then come in here and give it a name. I can give it a description. I can change the icon so you can see that I had a slightly different icon. And then I can come and add the tabs which you saw in the app. The tabs correlate to, I'll come back to it, but the tabs were the ones that went across the top here. And then I have the ability to add the message extensions, and that's where I was calling our WorkPoint app from the search bar and the message bar, or the command bar and the message bar. So I can come in here and add different tabs. So it's easier, maybe probably, to show you in an existing app. So here, Ultimate Demo, I gave it a short description. I uploaded my full color icon and my transparent icon. And then I added my tabs, and adding a tab is as simple as adding this button. And maybe in this case, I want to show a business module list view. And I can say, in this case, it's going to be my transmittals. And I can say, what view do I want? I've only got one view on transmittals, but I might have multiple. It could be my transmittals or my company transmittals. I can save that. And that adds that transmittals to the tabs. I may actually want to add another one. Where I might actually want to add a WorkPoint wizard. And I can say, okay, well, what title wizard? And maybe it's a send to or a simple copy. So whatever wizards I have set up, I can select a wizard here. I can give the wizard a name, and then I can select what entity it relates to. So it's really easy for me to add additional tabs. I'll just delete that for them. I'll leave that one there for the moment, actually. I know I don't have any transmittals, so I'll just delete that for now. I can change the sort order as well. So maybe I want customers to come after projects. I can do that. And I can come back and edit an existing app, is what I'm showing here. And then I can also add the commands. So they are the ones that I showed up in the command bar and also in the message bar. So maybe I edit this one. So to find a project, I give it a little description. I say search entities, and I give which search do I want to use. And you can define your own custom searches. And I can say projects only. And then I can say, where do I want it to show? Just in the command box or in the compose message box. We also support translations as well. So if you work in a multilingual organization, we support adding different languages. So in this case, I've only done it in English, but just so you're aware, you can download a template for lots of the different countries that we support from a Teams perspective, or all the languages Teams supports. And then the final thing is for me to package and distribute. And if I made an error, I would get a message saying that my app looks great. It's told me I've added some tabs, I've added some messages, extensions or commands. And then I can download this. And this downloads as a zip file. So if I just go and make a minor change, just change the short description, the latest version, I can come here, download it. Just delete that for the moment. I want to delete the one I created yesterday. I'll download that just to ensure it's got the same file name. It's called the ultimate zip. And then from my app, or I can give it to my Teams administrator, I can go and publish the app. If I publish the app, it's as simple as a few clicks. As now updated, it's the same app, but if I have a look at maybe the summary about, it's not showing me the short title. I should have updated the long title. It might be up here. But trust me, it's updated and it's gone from, I think, 113 to 114 because I made some changes to the app. So that shows you can really create an app within a few minutes, update it as well, really simply. Very conscious of time. So I think from a demo perspective, I can very quickly show you from the WorkPoint administration perspective. Just to show you the teamification part. This is currently implemented using our action management. So under here, I have a request teamification. So this was my manual trigger, which is the button I clicked, and I said it should call the request teamification. And the request teamification is just calling a Microsoft Power App that did the approval for me. Sorry, Microsoft Power Automate that did the approval for me. And then I also have a Teamify on approval, and this just says go and Teamify my site. But what I did here was I said, okay, well, only Teamify if it's been approved. So it's a very simple approval process, but it's very effective. And likewise, I said archive the team, and what was the condition of archiving the team? And the condition was when I changed the stage, and I changed it from re-energized to archived. So I don't want to go into too much detail, but what I want to show is it's all about configuration. I haven't had to do any coding. I haven't had to do any, scripting or anything like that to get this to work. It's just works by configuration. Perfect. Okay, I think it's time to go back to slides, just to give enough time for any questions. So I will present again. So I just want to give you some information about the roadmap. So the Save Chat to WorkPoint, we have been discussing it for a while. We were building it in our existing wizard and action management functionality. But what I can say is we have, you may have heard of PMF previously. We're now calling that WorkPoint Business Automation. And we're bringing the Save Chat to WorkPoint into that product. We're also working on giving additional functionalities such as sending team notifications, We're increasing our bot intelligence. So when I did the app mention to go and create a new project or to go and search for a project, we're adding more and more functionality there and deeper integrations as well with the whole Microsoft Teams. So as Microsoft Teams evolves, things like connections and being able to have topic cards and these sort of things, or connection cards, we're going to be supporting that functionality. So if you haven't already, I definitely recommend going and looking at our documentation, go and download our WorkPoint app builder. It's free, so there's no additional cost to installing it and even running it within your WorkPoint solution. My thing with Teams especially is work with your stakeholders to understand their pains. There's a lot of richness in Microsoft Teams, but it also provides a lot of pains to users to understand. Is it control? Is it governance? Is it my teams don't look the same, or I have to go and do X, Y, Z to go and create a team, and it's very much an overhead. As an IT admin, their pain might be too many teams being created, or we have no control or governance to that. Let's start with a small use case and build it out and build it into your team strategy. Stay up to date with our new capabilities. We're constantly having webinars, weekly tips and tricks, etc. So please follow us as much as you can on all of our social media channels. And also, we're constantly looking to improve our functionality, so provide us feedback. We love improving the product, and the best way we can do that is actually by listening to our users and our customers. So with that, Florian, I'll hand the floor back to you and see if there's any questions.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Dom, first of all, for your presentation. It was very, very nice. And also, I think this is the main point about it, is that you did not leave Microsoft Teams one time. And I think this is just amazing. Thank you very much. I hope you all enjoyed as well the presentation. To give you a little bit more time, because we have a short time delay, I will repeat what Dom said before. So if you want to get more information about WorkPoint, I highly recommend our YouTube channel as well. So WorkPoint 365 Explore. There you can find also very interesting interviews. We have also the webinars recorded on this channel, and also my favorite category is tips and tricks, where we show you very, very easy and fast tips every week, which you can use in the WorkPoint solution. So enjoy the videos, and if you like, please subscribe for our channel, and also we would love to have a like for our videos. Also, there will be other interesting webinars in the future, so please check out our website, our social media channels, like Dom said before, to get more information and to see if something will happen, what is very interesting for you. So also, of course, visit our homepage, contact us directly if you have any questions, suggestions, or if you need help. We are open, and we are very love to help you. Dom, I have to tell you, we have no questions, because you perform like every day, like every time when you make webinars, it's perfect. So we don't have questions. I don't know if everything was fine. If not, we are totally open, Dom and me, and also all others in the company, to if you have questions, to contact us directly over the homepage. I think this works pretty fine. So if we don't have questions, Dom, I don't know if you want to say anything more, but I think we can close this up. And thank you very much for joining us in the webinar. I hope I will see you in the next time again when we have a webinar. Thank you very much, Dom, once again.
Thank you very much.
And I hope you have a nice day. Bye.